Yeah.
We're live.
We're live.
Did you give us a warning?
She didn't even warn us today. We're just going.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm Tess, and I am here with Donna from To The Core. I get to fill in for Peter tonight for our sixth pillar. And tonight is all about emotional wellness. So, do you want to take it away?
I can take it away.
I'm very excited.
You're very excited for
Yes.
today? So I was actually just telling Tess before we went live that this is my least favorite of the pillars. This is the one I like to talk about the least because it is my weakest leg on the pillars. And so when we talk about them all, this is the one that I find I need to work on the most. And we all have one, right? Like it just totally depends on the person, which leg they need the most focus on. But I do find that emotional health is really common for a lot of people. And I would say more so now than perhaps ever before. So
Interesting.
it is interesting to me over the years how this one has really changed. And I don't know if part of that is because we have much more focus on mental health now, and emotional health and mental health are essentially tied together in some ways. You could almost say that they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot more to mental health than just your emotions, but they're very
Interconnected
in,
for sure.
right? Interconnected into your mental health. You can't have one without the other, right? So emotional health really has to do with being able to understand your emotions, being able to deal with your emotions and be mature about having those emotions, being able to talk to people about your emotions, going through life having more positive than negative emotions, which is why when we talk about the rise in mental health, most people that are having mental health issues are not having a lot of positive emotions. We're more on the negative side of those things, right? And so we are finding that people are more negative. So if you ask people if they're glass half full or glass half empty, right? We have a lot of glass half empty. and the reasons for people having a lot of things going on with their emotional health are varied. There's so many reasons that, I mean, we couldn't even start to cover all of them in this little tiny discussion, right? But we could talk about loss, we can talk about trauma, we can talk about hormone imbalances, we can talk about, right? All of these things, even things like chronic pain, right, can have a massive impact on what our emotions are, our lived experiences, you know, all of these things. What was your childhood like? Our relationships, they all tie together and they all have an effect on our emotions. So today, part of what we're talking about is our resilience in being able to deal with our emotions. What do we do with those things? Can you calm yourself when you are under a lot of stress or anxiety? When you're feeling those really big emotions, what do you do to bring yourself back down? Or can you, right? Or does it just keep building and building and building? And I think one of the interesting emotions that we have is stress.
Yes.
And I've progressively watched that change over the years, where, you know, we kind of adapt to a certain level of stress and our systems adapt to that level of stress. And then we add a little more because we feel like we have a little more capacity, right?
You push yourself a little bit harder.
And then we get used to that level. And then we have a little more capacity to go again, right? And pretty soon we're sinking.
Yeah.
And we don't really understand how we got there. And I talk to people every single day that are dealing with chronic pain that are, oh my goodness, we're under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And just
it
how that
manifests
affects
in so many ways.
Yes. And I think you probably can't have a conversation with anyone without it involving that they are under some kind of a stress
Or pressure or overwhelm or something.
Yes. Yeah. And I would say emotions and stress in particular, but emotions period, have a way the negative emotions get stuck in our tissues, right? And so I just had this discussion with somebody yesterday where it was, you know, you've been under stress for a long period of time. She's a teacher, right? And teaching has progressively become a more difficult job over the decades and over the years. And so is she dealing with different stressors now than she was previously? Yes,
For sure.
right? For sure, these stressors have changed. And so progressively, she's noticed more aches, more pains, more things. And until the point where now her body is just screaming at her, right? But your tissues hang on to those things. And when your tissues hang on to them, then things start to get stuck together and we become like really closed in. And then we just end up creating problems on our other legs. Our other pillars.
Right,
can really start to suffer when these things are not looked after. So so that's emotional health. That's a big bag to unpack.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. It's a huge bag of things to unpack. Love my little man there with his like depleted battery. Yeah,
He's sad.
He's so very sad. He's a very sad little man. Yes, he is. So there's a few things when we talk about emotional health that are important, and the first one is self-awareness, right? And I always say that you can't change what you don't know.
Yes.
Right. And so, or you don't know what you don't know, and so. Self-awareness is really about the stories that we tell ourselves. What are the stories we tell ourselves? And if we're stuck in those stories, we're not really self-aware. We're just telling ourselves a story, right? But we do that a lot with our emotions. And maybe sometimes they come out as excuses. They come out in our language. They come out in other things. But a lot of them are really tied deeply to emotions, how those things made us feel at the time. And so we create a story around them. So understanding what are our feelings.
Yes.
Those are hard, right? Sometimes just to even be able to name what our feelings are, what are our triggers, what sets us off. And of course, everybody is different, right? Everybody has different things and everybody has different patterns. So how have you adapted and what's your pattern now so that you can get through with whatever emotions you're dealing with. Right? And I see you smiling and it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, it's good. I'm smiling because there's nothing more like that will help you realize your triggers more than trying to raise emotionally aware children, because that's such a thing right now, right? Like you're really wanting to foster this space where they feel safe and they can feel their emotions, but when that wasn't necessarily to no fault of our parents or anyone, that just wasn't the thing as much, right? And so there's nothing more triggering than trying to help them navigate that, but it's so powerful. But, oh boy.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Yep. Buckle up. Well, and it's just totally depending on what era you grew up in.
Yes.
What parts of the country you grew up in, whether you grew up in a city or in the country or farm, like it's just so
there's so many variables.
There's certain things that are kind of tied depending on your family, depending on your culture, depending on so many things that you were raised with. I was listening to a lady talk the one day and she said there was really only two emotions in my family. We were either happy or we were mad.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to be sad. Sad wasn't an emotion in my house, right? And she said, so then if those are the two emotions that you're playing with all the time, what about the spectrum of the rest of them?
Yes.
Right? And so if you're sad, you're not supposed to be sad. So then what are you? Then you're angry. Because then how do you deal with sadness unless you're just going to be angry, right? So so it's interesting that you point that out because it is. We're starting to understand that self-awareness piece is important, and letting people feel things is important. You think how many times years ago when I was younger did we tell our boys just suck it up?
You're fine. You're
fine.
okay.
You're fine. Just suck it up.
Yep.
Right?
Stop crying. You're tough.
Yeah, you're tough.
Yep.
You're tough. Right? And right or not.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment there.
No,
It's the times of
absolutely
what
not.
it was, and this is just where we were, and the world was at a different place, and part of that's technology, and part of it's knowledge, and part there's just lots, right?
We all were doing the best with the information we had.
Absolutely.
And in 10 years, it's going to shift.
It's going to shift again.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think that's part of why the self-awareness is important,
Yes.
right? And if we start to teach our kids that they can be self-aware, and that's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be any of those things. But just being aware that that's what that is.
Yes.
And that then you can learn to deal with it appropriately.
Yes. There's tools and strategies that we can use once you identify how you're feeling.
Yeah. Instead of just telling yourself a little story and bottling it up and shoving it on a shelf.
I'm fine.
somewhere.
It's fine.
I'm fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. Famous words.
Yes.
If you have friends that are telling you that, probably
They're not.
They're not.
No.
No, it's kind of a
It's a
flag.
big lie.
It is a big lie. It is a big lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talk about that too in the studio, where that's
Mhm.
kind of, if any of your friends are kind of in that position, and you're like, okay, are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's got a code.
Yeah, right? Ask some more questions.
Ask some more questions. Let's dig a little deeper, right? So that gives you empowerment,
Mhm.
right? To be able to be self-aware empowers you with what you're going to do moving forward.
Mhm.
And like we said, how are you going to respond to the emotions that you're having? The second part is emotional resilience, right? So how do we bounce back? Because things are life happens, right? It really does. So we have loss, we have separations, we have kids go through tough things, right? And we have to support our kids in the hard things they go through.
Yeah.
We go through hard things ourselves. Maybe we lose a job, right? Or we run into financial issues, whatever the things might be. The things can be hugely happy too.
Yes.
Right? So as an example, as a parent who has, let all 3 kids leave the nest, it's massive, and it's such a happy thing, and it's exciting, also incredibly difficult.
Yes.
Right? As a parent, as a mom, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So how do you bounce back from that? Where's that resilience piece come back in? And if you spent 30 years of your life raising children, then your roles and your expectations kind of change.
Yep. I think so much too, like, of our life, or like as a parent's life, is parenting adult children. But there's not many handbooks on navigating that. So it's a big change. But you're right, it's the happy and the sad and balancing it and all of the things. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it also comes with its own challenges.
Yep.
There are emotional challenges moving forward, right? Because your kids are now adults, and you have to let them learn and make mistakes and grow and feel all these things and gain their own emotional resilience and do their own learning and growing. And you kind of don't have any control over that.
No.
No, not at all. Not kind of, you don't.
You might try to convince yourself you do, but you do not.
You really do not have control over that anymore, right? So are there emotions on both sides that go along with that, right? So the resilience to face those challenges, develop the skills, right? So that you can cope with the stress and the challenges of what's happening
as they come
in your life as they come to you. And then understanding that there are tools or resources available if you're struggling to deal with those things is part of it, right? So that emotional resilience doesn't have to just come from you. It also can come into the strategies, which is the looking for people that can help you, your community supports, those kinds of things, right? And there's so many of them. We are incredibly fortunate here in town. We have so many resources and so many supports to help people that are dealing with any of these emotional issues that go on, right? But some of the things we do: mindful eating, movement, stress reduction, stress management.
Like that it's a mindful eating, not emotional eating. Because I feel like that's a very common thing.
Emotional eating is a very common thing. Yeah.
So shifting that mindset to be mindful eating is powerful.
Yes. Yeah. And we're going to talk about that in connections to the psychology of food and movement. For a lot of people, there's a lot of emotions involved with food, and there's a lot of emotions involved with movement for people as well. Even just the word exercise for people invokes tons of emotions,
tons of feelings,
and a lot of feelings. Not all of them good.
No, probably most not.
Probably most not. We're gonna be honest. We're gonna be honest. So some of the things that you want to look at when we're talking about feelings is being able to check in on yourself. So number one, do you avoid recognizing your feelings? Do you just kind of, my husband and I joke because there's a comedian online that talks about the difference between men and women and how they process feelings and process thoughts and that kind of thing. And so, and I laugh because it's so funny, but you'd be sitting there and my husband will be staring off into space and be like, what are you thinking about? Nothing. Like, how is this even possible? I have 15 million emotions going on.
I have all these feelings, all these thoughts, like, what?
All these and you have nothing. And so, right? And
Yeah.
can't even fathom
No.
what. So anyway, the comedian says, so here's the main difference between men and women. Men can compartmentalize, and they actually have what he calls and coined a nothing box.
Mm-hmm.
So men can go to this box
Of nothingness.
and of nothingness and literally think of nothing. And women,
There's no box.
there is no box with nothing. There's not a box with nothing, right? And so he's laughing, and and he says, you can go over here, and the woman's box is like full of flowers, pillows, and all the things, and the man's box is literally empty. There's nothing in the box. And so when the woman finds out that the man has a nothing box, she wants to go and take part in the nothing box, because wouldn't that be delightful to not have all these things going on in your brain all at one time, and to be feeling all these emotions and doing, wouldn't that be delightful?
Love it.
Husband says, no, you're not allowed to come in. Because as soon as you come in, there will be throw pillows and flowers.
There's going to be no longer nothing
We'll
in
have
my
to
box.
direct, there will be no longer nothing in my box. Right?
Yeah.
But it's just a totally different way.
Completely.
Men are able to let some of those things go. Or they just have different ways of dealing with emotion.
Navigating
right?
it.
And navigating it. And women too can be very, very different in how they navigate emotions. Again, this is a generalized term.
Completely.
Right? Everybody's different. But being able to recognize those feelings also varies generally between the sexes. It does. Are you easily angered or triggered by people around you? Also depends on the person. This can also be affected by hormones. Just gotta say.
Yes.
But understanding how you react when you're triggered by something, what are those feelings in your body when you are triggered by something? And then can you actually honestly assess what is going on? And then how do you recover from it? Right? So there's kind of a little bit of a process there. And this helps to get people out of their stories and out of whatever's going on. I actually use this with myself a lot because it's hard sometimes to recognize what those feelings are.
Yes.
When you're in the middle of them, right?
And would you say too that lots of times, like what is triggering us is actually like kind of showing us what we need to grow or heal, or like there's a reason it's triggering us.
Yeah.
And instead of
yeah, it's very true that the things that we notice in other people that piss us off, as an example, or make us upset, or make us feel like our feelings are hurt, or any of those things are very often the things that we actually don't necessarily like or want to recognize about ourselves. Yeah, there's definitely something to that. So
for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I have these conversations with people all the time, and it's really hard for people to see that. Yeah. Because they'll be commenting on something and you'll be like, but that's you. No, that's not. Yeah.
Right.
That's
truly.
It's truly you. Yeah. And that's part of who
it takes a long time, I think, to get to the point to be able to recognize it and accept it in a way that you're then going to like be productive with that that you've just learned. Or
and I think there's maturity with that too, right? Like I think when you're 19, is your brain thinking about any of these things?
No,
not a lot.
No,
maybe I think we're building awareness to that emotional health is really important, and that we have that. But if you would have said that 20 years ago, probably not.
No,
right?
No, you're triggering me because you're being ridiculous, right? Not.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with me.
Yes. Yeah. And can we overdo things? Of course, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that are triggered by a lot of things, right? And so I think at some point there has to be that self-awareness. There has to be that self-accountability, really, because you have to be responsible for your own emotions and how you handle that.
You're the only one in that control.
Yeah. You can't just blame everybody else for your emotions all the time. It's always their fault that you're triggered. Their fault, right? Like there's a point in there. And so does all that negativity and all of those harder, more negative emotions, do those affect your health? Yeah.
100%.
100%. And so there's actually a lot of studies that have been done that actually show that negative emotions actually decrease your immune system.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the more we can do things that push us into those positive emotions,
Mhm.
the stronger our immune system is, the
Mhm.
stronger our health is, and the easier it is to actually build up the other pillars,
Mhm.
right? So if you take like a relationship, for
Yeah,
example, if you're in a relationship with somebody and all the emotions are always negative, does that have a positive or a negative impact on your relationship? Probably negative, right? So that also,
Mhm.
right, will affect that pillar. Can it affect your purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Right?
just feel like everything's gloomy and blue all the time, like
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
or mad or like.
Right. All those negative emotions, right? So
Mhm.
yeah. All right. So into some of the nitty gritty. So when we talk about food
Mhm.
and movement, both of those things are very
Mhm.
emotionally based, right?
Yes.
And they're very psychological. And most people, when they come to me and we're doing nutrition coaching,
Mhm.
they don't really understand how psychological food
Oh.
is.
Mhm.
But the reason why the diet industry is $1 billion industry a year is because it plays on your emotions.
Mhm.
That's exactly how they sell you on everything.
Mhm.
And a lot of those emotions are very negative emotions,
Yeah.
right? They're based around shame and guilt, right?
Mhm.
Messaging about things that are good and bad, right?
Yeah.
Adding morality to food.
Mhm.
So if you're doing things that are wrong, then you
Mhm.
feel bad
Yep.
all the time about your nutrition.
Cheated.
And cheat meals
Yes,
or
yep.
those things. Like all of the language that surrounds the diet industry is purposefully there
They're
to make
doing
you
it
feel
strategically.
they're strategically doing it. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. And so the diet industry has been around for about 60 years at this point. So we have several generations of women in particular that have been negatively impacted by the emotions that go with that, right? So it's interesting to me because food is connected by your family, it's connected by your friends, and it's like all of your culture, right? Your customs, like your traditions and everything. And all of that can be undermined by the diet industry, by the messages that they give you. So it's pretty wild. And I can't remember if I told this story once already or not, but to show how strong emotions are when it comes to food, I had a client years ago that told me, well, I can't stop eating chocolate chip cookies. Like if I make them, I have to eat all of them. I just eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we'd done a whole bunch of other things and she was doing super, super well. But this cookie thing was really bothering her an awful lot. And so we sat down and we were having a conversation one day and we were, just about family and about, traditions and that kind of thing. And she said, oh, my mom and I had a tradition, and she started thinking about it. And she's, when I was a kid, I was bullied. And I would come home and my mom would always have chocolate chip cookies ready and we would sit and we would eat chocolate chip cookies and talk about my day.
Yeah.
So this was their tradition.
Yes.
This is how they dealt with all the emotions that went with the bullying she was having at school. And of course it built their relationship and it was fabulous on that side of it. But then she lost her mom. And so then every time she was upset, what did she do?
She made chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. So her story was sunk into her brain about this is how I handle dealing with stress and dealing with things that are upsetting me.
Yeah.
And as soon as she understood that there was a connection between those two things, no more needing to eat 2 dozen cookies.
Chocolate. Yeah. Isn't that crazy how, like, and from when she was a child, it's not like it was,
It's a tradition.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about all the time Christmas baking.
Yes.
Okay, so Christmas baking is another big psychological food time. And so we only have these special foods once a year. It's the only time we make them. So we have to eat lots of them because we're not going to have them again for a year.
Yeah.
Right? So my thing is always, but says who?
Yeah.
I can make shortbread cookies whenever I want.
Anytime. I'm an adult.
I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I can have those anytime I want.
Yeah.
I can make fudge whenever I want to.
Mhm.
I can make my husband's favorite cookies or ammonia cookies. I can make ammonia cookies whenever. Like it doesn't have to be just at that time.
At that time of year. Mhm.
It is amazing how this changes your story and your emotional attachment to that food.
Yep.
When you change the story that you can
And
only
you
have
don't
it once a
feel,
year,
yeah.
right? And so, does it change that emotional attachment? Yep.
Mhm. You take it off a pedestal,
Yes.
right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And it takes away the guilt and the
Mhm.
shame of eating so many of them at one time because now you don't have to.
No.
So instead of eating, an entire batch of fudge,
Mhm.
which I could do,
Yes.
quite easily,
Yes.
right? Instead, it's no longer
You don't feel the
same pull,
mm-mm.
right? It doesn't have the same meaning behind it
Mhm.
anymore.
Yeah, interesting. I have a friend and she always says, is it going to feel good to do? It might feel good to do, or it'll feel good to do, but will it feel good to have done? And I find that helps, and not necessarily just for eating anything, cleaning my house. But that kind of helps me shift it into something where it's like, well, it'll feel good. It will probably feel good to have eaten one of the cookies or one piece of fudge. It won't feel good to have eaten a whole dozen. And so like kind of finding that balance of what feels good to do and feel good to have done is like, has been I found a good tool for me and helpful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I find this is about perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And so that when you change your perspective, does it
Mhm.
change your emotions
Mhm.
along with it? Yes.
Yeah.
So we talk about health not being something that you just have.
Yeah.
Health is something you do,
Mhm.
right? And so it becomes an action word.
It's a conscious effort.
It's a conscious effort, right?
Mhm.
And so is there a more positive emotion attached with something that you have control over and that you can do?
Yeah.
Right? Rather than something you just have or you don't have,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's much more positivity in I can do something to improve my health. Right? So when we talk about negative or positive emotions, food and exercise have a lot of negative emotions for people. So things like shame, guilt, fear, anger, neglect, right, are all things that happen for people. I would say from a physical activity standpoint, there are an awful lot of people out there that hated gym class, that always felt like they were left out, that didn't feel like they were chosen, that didn't feel like they participated, they weren't included, all of those words that go along with it. And then there is like a lacking from a feeling like you're part of community, feeling
That
like you have different
connection.
connections, right? All of those things that go along with it. And so those things happen both with food and with activity. And then on the positive side, when you have positive emotions about those things, you have optimism, right? You feel respected, you feel proud. And again, I'm kind of harpy on the whole diet industry thing because I have a big problem with the diet industry. Because I don't think that it has a lot of benefit from an emotional standpoint, especially for people. But we also, as people, have gotten to the point because of the diet industry where we think it's okay to comment on people's bodies. And so when we comment on somebody who has lost a significant amount of weight and we tell them that they look good, the implication is that they looked bad before, right? And I don't think we should ever be commenting on other people's bodies. That's none of my business. And you also don't know why they've lost.
I was just going to say, it might not be a positive reason that they might suddenly dropped a lot of weight.
Right? So they could be ill. They could be dealing with a major illness. They could have a family member that's very sick and they're spending all their time in the hospital and they're not eating because they're with their family member all the time. But you do not know what somebody else is going through, and then you are praising their weight loss with no knowledge as to why that is actually happening.
Might not actually be something if you knew.
No.
You'd be offering praise for.
Yes. Right. And it reinforces that if you're skinny,
smaller is,
then you're better. Right. And that's not true either.
No.
Right. So we have because we look at health incorrectly by just weight activity and food,
Yeah.
right? We look at somebody and think, oh, well, I can tell that Tess is healthy because she weighs X amount of weight and this is what, or this is her pant size, so she
Yeah.
must be healthy, right? The two of them don't go hand in hand, and you can't tell that by looking at somebody. Unfortunately, when we do that to people, it also creates a lot of negative emotions, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be pushing people into those positive emotions
Yes,
around food, positive emotions around movement. And so a lot of people use the word exercise. I tend to use the word movement because exercise actually has a negative connotation for a lot of people because they've been told, well, you have to do this.
Yes.
And
or else,
right? Or health professionals will say, well, you just go get some exercise and lose weight. And often will ignore other health things that are happening for people. And so people have a negative association with that exercise word because it is only associated with losing weight. Right? The only reason you could ever want to exercise.
I have to.
Yeah.
It's always you have to, I have to, not I get to, or I can, or
none of those
it's
things.
Such a,
yeah. So trying to get away from that negativity is really an important thing. And I think the other part of exercise is that we have this vision that we're going to feel fabulous and we're going to have all these great emotions. It's going to be such a positive experience when we exercise because everybody says, oh, the positive endorphins, you're going to feel amazing. Yeah, that doesn't happen for everybody, hey?
No. Depending what you're doing, like, oh God.
Not everybody loves exercise.
No.
And when you first start, it can be hard and you don't feel all these positive things.
Your muscles are hurt, different muscles that haven't hurt before. Like,
and it's hard
not
work.
easy.
It's not easy. And so not everybody feels that euphoria when they first start. Not everybody feels all the positive emotions when they first start. And it can take a while. For some people, it can take a year before they start to feel good things about adding exercise into their lives. So I feel like we have from a fitness standpoint, we have an obligation to people to help them to find the joys in moving. What are those joys? And part of that might be to have different goal setting, right? Where am I going to find joy in moving? Where am I going to find joy in eating well? Where are the good feelings that come from making these changes for myself instead of the drudgery and the negativity that goes with them?
Because with that positive reinforcement, it just will help it become something much more long lasting, right? When you're feeling that, otherwise you're going to search for that positivity and probably self-sabotage.
Yes. Yeah. And I think part of that too is because we feel and we're trained to do everything at once. So we have to change everything, right? Like we're a project to be fixed. So we're a 30-day fix away from perfection. And you can't, number one, you're not a project to be fixed.
No.
Number two, the name of it itself implies that there is something wrong with you. Right? So you're starting off with a negative feeling going with it. All subconscious, by the way. And then as you're fixing yourself, if you don't then look like the person that is then more negative.
In the very short period of time that we tell ourselves, because we have instant gratification.
Absolutely.
That it needs to be.
And so we kind of put ourselves in a cycle of negativity when it comes to food and movement. And we can change that by making our goals more realistic, to make them smaller, measurable, by changing our habits a little bit at a time instead of trying to change everything at once, so that you can see positive growth, see positive progress, right?
And then compound it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you try to take on all of those things all at once, it's overwhelming and it's stressful.
And
then so there goes your negative well-being or emotional well-being. You're just in a negative little.
Yeah. And making those changes for your health is very, very stressful.
Yeah.
So if you are already stressed, if you're already sitting at my glass is half empty instead of half full, is it easy to get drawn into more negative emotions while you're trying to look after your health? Yes, it can be. And so to be on the lookout for those things and be able to recognize what are the stories we're telling ourselves, where are we stuck, what emotions are coming up, how do I address these things, and how do I get some help to change them is really part of the process. But it's trying to maintain a more positive outlook
Mhm.
when it comes to life in general
Yeah.
is also going to be helpful. So
Definitely.
so my job always is to try and help people find more joy in life,
Mhm.
more joy in looking after themselves, more joy in changing their health outcomes. And everybody has different barriers,
Mhm.
right? And many of them are emotional barriers.
Yeah.
So these are tips for building emotional health. This is not an all-inclusive list.
Yeah.
There's a long list. My top two are always, eating mindfully and moving every day.
Okay.
Those are number one.
Mhm.
So if you want to change your emotional health, you move your body.
Mhm.
And as soon as you start moving, even if it's just something simple,
Mhm.
like turning on some music and dancing in your
Yes.
kitchen, can have massive
Mhm.
impact on your emotional well-being.
Mhm.
Okay? It doesn't have to be complex. The very best thing, if you're not going to get exercise or any kind of movement or, eat some slowly and mindfully,
Mhm.
is to laugh.
Mm. Mhm.
Laughter is just so joyful.
Yeah.
You think of your daughter
Mhm.
when she has those belly laughs that
Oh
come
my
like
gosh.
so deep
Yes.
that she's just giggling like it's coming from her
Yeah.
toes, and it just bubbles out of her and you can't help but laugh.
Laugh too. Yes.
Can you be in a bad mood listening to her laugh?
No.
Never.
No.
That was my favorite sound. It's still my favorite sound.
Yeah.
Listening to a baby giggle is like the best thing on the planet.
Yes. Truly.
It truly, truly is.
Mhm.
But it's very, very difficult for anybody to have negative emotions
When you're in that space.
when you're in that space.
Mhm.
You can be having the worst day ever and listen to a baby giggle and you're just going to be smiling.
Yeah. Honestly.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. So music
Mhm.
is huge for being able to change your moods.
Mhm.
There are certain types of music that can be really helpful. So there's actually, they're called alpha waves.
Oh,
And
yes.
when you listen to alpha waves, they
Mhm.
can actually change how your brain is
Mhm.
processing things, and it can change your mood. But just listening to your favorite music, right? Whatever it might be that you really love listening to. And for some people, depending on what their emotions are, it's like, give me some heavy metal now.
Yes.
I'm gonna like just get going with some really hard rock. No. And other people, it might just be country music. It could be classical music. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Music is very healing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just an instantaneous switch that can make you feel absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
So music, and easy, right? You can turn on the radio and listen to music for free.
Honestly.
So, journaling.
Mhm.
And a lot of people will say, I don't have time. You can do like voice to a recorder as journaling too. There's lots of voice to text things, so you could just talk and it'll just type it all out for you. I like the pen to paper. But I'm an old-fashioned pen to paper. But I find pen to paper is very healing from an emotional standpoint. So depending on why your emotions are the way they are, then sometimes just speaking to people or just writing down those things, can be one of the most healing things that you can do. A gratitude practice along with it. Again, when you're grateful, it is very hard to be negative. And so I have challenged people previously, say, okay, I want 50 things. What are 50 things that you're grateful for? 50? 50? Yeah, 50.
How am I ever going to think
How
of
am I
50
ever going to
things?
think of 50 things?
Yeah.
You'll think of 50 things. You can think of 50 things.
Yeah.
Once you stop and you start really thinking about what are the things that you have and that you do and that you are and the people around you and all the things that you have that you can be grateful for.
Yeah.
And once you start thinking about those things, does it change your mood and change your emotions?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're searching for those pieces of joy and pieces of gratitude, you're just rewinding your focus to be on something positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually shown that if you do that gratitude practice at night before you go to bed, you also can't wake up in the morning in a bad mood. Yeah. Because it wires your brain before you go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Yeah. So you can sleep better, and then when you wake up
better.
in the morning, you actually wake up better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an incredibly powerful
It is.
practice.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to take a long time.
No, but I can see like people can feel overwhelming, or they need the perfect journal, or they need the perfect pen, and it's just start. If you don't, if it's a piece of paper and you burn it after, throw it, like
Yep,
it
matter.
doesn't need to be.
Doesn't need to be
Yeah.
anything fancy.
Mhm.
But those things, like I need the perfect pen and I need the
Yeah.
journal, those are avoidance things.
Yeah.
Right? So why are we avoiding it?
Mhm.
Why are we avoiding sitting down and actually doing this thing?
Yeah.
And so maybe there's some emotions that you
I was just
have
gonna
to look
say,
after
there's
in there.
probably some emotion. Yeah.
There's probably an emotion there that we need to, and I mean, I'm not a professional when it comes
Yes.
to dealing with people's emotions, obviously. Like that's not my job. I'm not a psychiatrist, none of those things. But I do know that we're human
Mhm.
and that there's always a reason for why we're doing something.
Yeah.
And we are very emotionally driven.
Mhm.
We have a lot of emotional reasons for why we are the way we are.
And do the things we do.
And do the things we do and tell
Mhm.
ourselves the stories that we tell ourselves. And,
Mhm.
you know, and we all get caught up in those stories. We really, really do. And we just keep telling ourselves the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are, I would, but
Yeah.
I can't, right?
Mhm.
And so I always tell people, if you catch yourself, I would, but
Mhm.
I could, but just.
Yeah.
I will, but I just need to do this first, or
Yeah.
I just like those kinds of words in our language are usually avoidant, and
Mhm.
there's a reason.
There's a
why.
reason we're avoiding it.
Yeah, and it could just be that that's a story that you're telling
Mhm.
yourself, and there's a reason why you're not.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's just because you're on information overload.
Oh.
And your brain just doesn't know what to do with all of it. So
Yeah.
your emotion is confusion.
Truly.
Truly.
And
Yeah.
I feel like, especially like right now with social media and our phones in our hands, like you can find information for all the things that it's like, how do you even know where to start, what to do? Because there's 5 different things in the last 2 seconds I watched that told me 5 different reasons and why I shouldn't do the other ones. And
Yeah.
it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. If you go to a used bookstore,
Mhm.
one of the biggest sections in the used bookstore is health and wellness,
Yeah.
diet books,
Mhm.
because people have bought the book. So if you look,
Yeah.
this book will say fat is bad for you. This
Yeah.
book will say carbs are bad for you. This
Mhm.
book will say you should fast. This book will say you shouldn't fast. This book will, right? And they
Yes.
all contradict each other.
Yeah.
Every single
They're
one
all
of them.
experts.
And they're all experts. They're all doctors. They all know,
Yeah.
right? And so when somebody comes to me and says, "Yeah, but I read this book and a doctor wrote it." Yeah, I don't care. It means nothing.
Truly.
At this point, it really does
Yeah.
not mean anything. And what I will always tell people is that foundationally, nutrition is simple.
Mhm.
And if you can't do those foundational simple things, then those books don't matter.
No.
Those things don't matter. So let's figure out why you're
Mhm.
eating the way you are.
Yeah.
What is the story that you have for yourself around
Mhm.
food?
Mhm.
Let's sort through some of that stuff.
Mhm.
And I mean, I have clients that their moms put them on a diet the first time when they were 10.
Mhm.
I think there's a story and some emotions involved with that.
Oof. Big
There's
time.
a lot, right? There's a lot of things.
A whole lifetime full.
A whole lifetime full, right? Or that they were put on a diet, but their sister was not.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
comments that people
Yeah.
make. Here's you don't comment on other people's
No.
bodies. I don't care who, even if it's your child, you don't comment on other people's bodies. So it used to be that
Mhm.
maybe mom would say, "Yeah, but you know, she doesn't have to eat like you because you're
Mhm.
chunky and she's not."
Yeah.
Okay. But at 10,
Yeah.
what do you do with those emotions that
Mhm.
go with it? You don't understand them,
No.
right?
We
Or
can't
understand any of
process,
it. You
no.
can't process any of that, but those things tend to stay with you.
Yep.
Even the emotion of watching your mom
Yes.
not eat things because she's afraid of being fat.
Yeah.
Right? There's emotional baggage that goes along
Mhm.
with that. And do they internalize that and carry that
Mhm.
along with them? And I mean, mom does too,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But a fear of food.
Mhm.
Fear of food. I can't eat that or I will get fat. And
Yeah.
then I'm not worth as much.
No.
Right?
Mhm.
So we have a lot of language that goes
Mhm.
along with that and a lot of things that we've kind of predisposed people
Truly.
too. Yeah, and in the fitness industry, we have a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done around language and around,
Mhm.
teaching people about nutrition. That's
Yes.
foundationally easy for
Mhm.
people to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else can we do for emotional health? Deep breathing.
Mhm.
I think I've probably said deep breathing for every single thing that we've done so far.
Any of our pillars.
I'm also
Just
going to
breathe
say it
deep.
next week, and I'm also going to say it the week after.
Yeah.
So breathing affects every pillar, every single one of them.
Mhm.
And so if we're experiencing big emotions that we don't know how to deal with, taking a minute to stop and breathe is a big deal.
Mhm.
Teaching our kids that
Yes.
they can stop and breathe to deal with big emotions is a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? That you can calm your nervous system
Mhm.
by simply breathing.
Mhm.
You can change your heart rate by breathing.
Mhm.
You can decrease anxiety by breathing.
Yeah.
You can change your stress levels by breathing,
Mhm.
right? All those things matter just by stopping and breathing.
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways that you can breathe. So when you're learning how to breathe, you can figure out which way works best for you, depending on what the situation is.
Mhm.
Some people work great with box breathing.
Yeah.
With kids, often will use finger breathing, right? So they inhale to go up the finger, exhale to come down, and they can trace their fingers up
That's
and
a good
down
idea.
and breathe at the same time.
Yeah.
And because there's an action that goes
That
with
they're
it,
doing it
they're
as
doing
they're-
it as they go, then
Yeah.
it helps to calm their nervous system down even more.
Mhm.
Right? It gives them something to focus on that isn't the big emotion that they're dealing with. Works on adults too.
I was just gonna say, especially as you're just like getting yourself like into that routine or that habit of like taking that deep breath, the mindful like connection of like would just be super helpful and beneficial. And
So if you imagine sitting at your desk
Mhm.
and you have like all of this stuff that you need to do,
Mhm.
and your boss calls you and says, by the way, Tess,
Yes.
I need you to get this done in the next hour because this is happening and I need this done.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and you can feel yourself panicking and feel yourself like, how am I going to get all of this and this and all these things done? For you even to stop and go, okay, give me a second.
I'm okay. Yeah.
And go through the tracing of the fingers and stop. It's an interesting experiment to see if you can tell what's going on with your system as you just breathe.
Mhm. And it takes your body out of that fight or flight.
Yeah.
Because if you're not breathing, it's in
Then
that
you stay
heightened
there.
stress. Yeah.
You stay there, and then your body just holds onto it. And it's
Holds that stress, holds that trauma. Yeah.
Holds it all.
Mhm.
Yeah, we want to deal with these emotions, not
lock them
not
up.
lock them up and
Mhm.
hold them in there. Meditation works great for a lot of people. I've had a lot of people say, Donna, I can't meditate. Like I'm just making my grocery list and I'm doing all these other things. It's okay.
Mhm.
You just, as you're doing it, you recognize the fact that you wandered, and then you come back.
Come back. Yes.
And then you just sit again, and then you'll wander. And you just come back again.
And I think too, there's a misconception that meditation needs to be you just either sit there in silence or you put on some like ohms and yoga. No, you can get guided meditations that like walk you through it. You can get ones that are meant to be when you're actively walking or doing something or doing things around the house or
like
it
can
doesn't
walk and meditate.
have to be a thing. I do like to meditate as I fall asleep because then it's just subconsciously. I have the best sleeps. When I have meditated before I went to bed.
And I have.
And I just turn it on and lay there.
And you just turn it on and lay there.
And if I fall asleep, that's fine. They act like they say that it's actually deeper healing if you fall asleep.
If you fall asleep during. Yeah. And I have quite a few clients that do exactly what you're talking about. And like you said, sleep better.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And are you more emotionally resilient if you're sleeping?
Yes.
And getting good sleep? Yes. Are you emotionally resilient if you're not getting any sleep at all?
Not at all.
Back to babies and not getting any sleep.
Yeah.
How are your emotions?
And all over the
controlling
place.
them.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
Your
ability to navigate that
is just
completely diminished.
Yes, it completely goes downhill, right? And you can find yourself overreacting to things and being, overly emotional about things. And you say that, but are you really? No, that's your body saying, hey,
I'm in a fight or flight. I need help.
I need some help.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to do all the things.
No.
But yeah, I find that we don't listen to our bodies.
Mhm.
And so when our emotions are not, when we can't regulate our
Mhm.
emotions, when we can't, when we're not resilient, when we're
Yeah.
not able to manage our stress and manage our anxiety and manage some of those difficult emotions, it is your body trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
It's telling you there's a problem
Mhm.
and we need to do something.
And let's
right?
listen now before it manifests
Yes.
into something bigger because you're still not listening to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's very hard, right?
Very.
It's hard to listen to your body. It's hard to notice
Mhm.
that that's what's going on
Mhm.
because as we talked about earlier with the stress, right? You get
Mhm.
used to this. You get used to this is where my emotions are.
Yeah.
So that's my normal.
Yeah.
Ramp it up,
Mhm.
right? It takes you a little bit to get used to that next level,
Mhm.
but then you're there and these are my emotions and
Yeah.
this is where I operate at. And so that's just who I am.
Yep.
It's just who I am,
Mhm.
right? But it's a sign
Yep.
of something more going on. One of the ladies I was talking to yesterday, this is the
Mhm.
teacher, she said, like, I know that
Mhm.
the stress has been increasing. And she said, I know I'm not listening.
Mhm.
And she said, it's gotten to the point now where I haven't listened for long enough that now my body is screaming at me.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. I have to listen now. I don't have any choice. I can hardly walk.
Mhm.
Right? And so why are we letting ourselves get to that point where
Mhm.
we're in that much pain?
Yeah.
Or we have that many things going on when a lot of it is things that if we had listened, we
Yeah.
could start to make some of those changes. But that emotional stress and that emotional distress is a sign there's something else wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah. Grounding,
Mhm.
putting your feet on the earth,
On the grass.
just stand in the grass.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Stand on some rocks.
Yeah.
Stand in the sand. Stand in the water at the beach.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. As many different kinds of mediums underneath
Mhm.
your feet as you can get, the better, right? And you just suck some good energy out of the
Yeah.
earth, and it is amazing how much it can change your
Mhm.
mood and change your
And
emotions.
truly.
Yeah. Getting sunshine.
Mhm.
Yeah, sunshine is a big one. So people will have seasonal
Yes.
deficit disorder, right? Where they're without the sunshine, then it affects their moods.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%.
Truly.
So if you know that the lack of sunlight is having that effect on you, it's super easy to buy a sun lamp and
Yeah.
use it. I use one almost every day all winter because I know it has a big effect on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So especially when it's really cold. and you're not
Yes,
getting
and you just
outside.
don't want to get outside.
Yes, exactly. Fresh air, right?
Mhm.
Getting outside and getting fresh air.
Oh.
As you can see, most of these things are free.
I was just gonna say they're just. I'm not buying anything.
No.
I'm breathing.
Yes. But part of it is that you have to be willing to take the time to put
Yes.
yourself first
Mhm.
to do it.
Mhm.
And it is amazing how many people I will say, I want you to spend time tonight before you go to bed and take 5 nice deep breaths in. And they don't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. I can't.
Mhm.
I can't. I don't have time. You're laying in bed.
Mhm.
Focus on taking.
But that emotional, that there's an emotion there of not putting yourself first.
Yeah, for sure. Building yourself some support systems.
Mhm.
Who do you have to talk to?
Yeah.
Right? Who do you trust enough to be vulnerable with and tell them all things that are actually going on is important.
Mhm.
Because to have good, strong emotional, you have to be vulnerable and you have to trust people. So with those
You need
emotions,
to express
you
them.
you need to be able to express them.
Yeah.
Right? And I think part of the reason why we are at the place where we're at is because we don't feel safe to express our emotions with people. So social media is not good for people expressing themselves and then being beat up for expressing themselves. Right? So that also goes with learning to communicate openly. Right? Hard to communicate openly if you feel like somebody is going to be beating you down for your emotions and for how you're feeling about things. Creativity. Yeah. So different people, creativity is like the key.
It could be anything.
Yeah. Like for one of my kids, definitely creative, artistic, right? And when they're feeling anxious or when there's lots of things going on, art and being creative is the thing. And that's what calms them. That's what helps to flip them from being in that negative headspace to being in a much more positive headspace. And it can be as simple as picking up a piece of paper and doodling and drawing a picture, like picking up a puzzle.
Yeah.
And doing, even if you've already done it before.
Something
or
to just, yeah.
whatever it is that's creative that you enjoy
Mhm.
doing. I used to, when my kids were little, I would crochet. I
Oh, yeah.
crocheted blankets.
Mhm.
And that was my thing. That was my creative thing that would help me to find my emotional balance.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
Mhm.
of these things, they are all free, which is my favorite thing,
Yes.
right? And then are there other things that you can do to
Oh.
help build emotional resiliency that might cost you some money?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we have tons of supports in town. There's
There's
lots
so
of
many
people that you
resources.
can talk to. We have lots and lots of resources. So.
Mhm.
One of the quotes that I really like is,
Oh, I
"Don't
like
let your mind bully your body into believing it has to carry the burden of your worries."
Mhm.
Right?
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a very good one. Yeah, that's all I have for you.
That's
Any
all I
questions for me?
have. Okay. Do you have any questions online? No. Gosh, that was a good one. I don't know, but I feel like I interrupted. And
That's okay. That's the whole purpose, is
But-
for you to interrupt me.
I guess like for people watching and they're maybe at the point of like recognizing that, okay, these are emotions that are causing me X, Y, Z. How would you recommend, or like, where do you start to like decode them a little bit or try to navigate kind of some of that to figure out that, like, getting to the point that, because my mom and I ate cookies, or maybe it's not even that deep, but just
No.
like, where do you start to,
Sorry, go ahead.
to start to decode them a little bit
Yeah.
more than just the strategies of like,
Yeah.
this is what I can do when I'm feeling heightened emotion, but then how can I kind of take it one step further?
Take it a step further.
Mhm.
I would say that part of that is finding your safe people.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're navigating hard emotions,
Mhm.
sometimes it's really hard to do that on your own.
Yeah.
Right? And so a lot of the people that come to me
Mhm.
don't feel like they have that. I deal with a lot of people that have not an eating disorder, but they have disordered eating habits,
Mhm.
right? Which is really common
Yeah.
if you've ever been on a diet.
Mhm.
Most diets are disordered eating
habits,
patterns, right? And so those things carry a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of negative emotions with them.
Mhm.
And so when people are navigating those, finding their safe place is often hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes your safe place would be your mom, as an example. But part of the reason you're in that position is because of the language or because of your upbringing.
Yeah.
So sometimes finding your safe place to navigate emotions is finding somebody that's outside of your normal circle,
Mhm.
right, of people. Everyone has a safe person in some way, shape, or form. So even if it's somebody that you have to go and find, I would say that if you're navigating some harder feelings, that you're like really struggling to get through them, that you find a person to support you. Yeah, find a person that you trust. Build some supports. Build that community of people that you trust. The strategies kind of help you to get to that point of, okay, this one I don't navigate well on my own. I should probably talk to somebody. Or there's other tools, right? There's things like hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
Can you go and do hypnotherapy? We have somebody in town here that does that. Can you go and do neurofeedback, which can also help calm anxiety, which will then allow your brain to function a little differently. And then can you start to sort out some of those emotions on your own? Yes. Right. So there are tools, but some of those other tools do start to cost you a little bit of money to go through and do them. So I would say if you can, right, find those people in your circle that can help you
kind of navigate that and
to navigate that. Yeah.
And maybe, I guess, hold you a little bit accountable. Like sometimes those people are going to challenge you, which
sometimes you
makes
need
them
somebody
the
to
right
challenge.
people.
And sometimes you need somebody to challenge your story.
Yeah.
You really do.
Mhm.
You need somebody to say, one of mine that I call people out on all the time is, I should.
Yeah.
I should. We spend so much time shoulding all over ourselves that it is like unbelievable. It's another flag.
Yeah.
If your language is always I should, why do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like you should be doing X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
Right? And where did that message come from? Because that shoulding, I can't, I'll just, buts, all those words are a sign that the for me,
Mhm.
is a sign of an emotion that's hidden underneath
Yeah.
there. That's you're not addressing it for
No.
some reason, and you're not making progress because something is holding you back.
Yeah.
Usually, a story you're telling yourself around something. Right.
And it can be something from
Yeah.
many years
Yeah.
ago. Like,
Or it could be something from yesterday at work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be a huge, big
No.
thing either, right? It could be
No.
small and insignificant
Absolutely.
that you didn't even give a second thought.
No.
Yeah. Well, you're subconsciously giving it a lot of
Subconsciously.
extra thought,
Yes.
but consciously.
Consciously, you don't. No.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah. Emotions are hard.
Yeah.
A hard topic.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate, well, now that there's like Inside Out, like just some of those movies and just more conversation and kind of books and stories about like your emotions and how you shouldn't actually just live in the state of joy or happiness all the time. You
No.
need to feel them all
Mhm.
because that's important.
Mhm.
And I think that that's super valuable, and especially for our kids and to see those
It
things.
is, of course.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think, some of us have jobs.
Mhm.
We talk about it at the studio all the time.
Yeah.
I know lots of people that are like public facing
Yeah.
all the time in their jobs, where you always feel like you have to be on.
Yes.
You are on
Mhm.
every single time you walk out the door. You are on. You are always putting forward a certain face,
Yep.
no matter how you feel.
Yep.
Right. And so when you have to do that day in and day
Mhm.
out, if
That's
you don't
exhausting.
have that safe place where
Yep.
you can just let that stuff go,
Mhm.
and then you do go home and then go, well, I don't want to take out on my spouse
Yes. Yeah.
all that stuff that I couldn't let go all day,
Mhm.
right? You want to be aware of that as well. So
Yep.
then, where is your space
Yeah.
where you can let go of those emotions
Mhm.
and where you can find that balance
Yeah.
of things. I think it's also an interesting perspective
Yeah.
because many of us have those jobs where we
Yes.
have to be very
Yeah.
forward facing and where we are always
Mhm.
feeling like we're
And
on.
it's great,
if you
and
have-
everything is great.
and everything
Yeah.
is just fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Right? Yeah.
Right? But that's exhausting too.
And especially if you're more of an introverted
Mhm.
versus extroverted, everybody gets their energy differently, and
Yeah. Which is why when we're talking about this stuff, it's always very general, right?
Yes.
This is not an absolute.
no,
I
this is
never
not a
speak in
one size
absolutes.
fits all.
No, it is absolutely not good. And so when I give this list
Yeah.
of things that you can do, you might try meditation as
Yeah.
an example. And I know you do this already, but you might try it and say, Donna, that's not for me.
No,
Okay, then it's not for you.
let's
But you have a
try
whole
something
list.
else.
Then
Yes.
let's try something else.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not a big meditator. I'm a big breather.
Yeah.
I take
Breathing.
all that time
Yeah.
every time. And it is hugely beneficial to me. I
Mhm.
love grounding.
Yeah.
Right? But I've tried all these things. So I know what
You
ones
need to
work for me.
find. Yeah.
Yeah, and you find what works. So if you're having a particular, these are the emotions you're trying to work through.
Yeah.
Maybe your breathing practice is beneficial for this set of emotions
Yeah.
you're working through, and maybe meditation is better for these ones.
Yep. Or you need to journal it out, or go for you
Go
don't
for a
know until
walk.
you try.
You don't know until you try.
And because you try one and it didn't work, doesn't mean it's failed and you are
Yes.
a lost cause.
No,
That's not what it means.
That's not what it means. Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always encourage people, you take those things that are free and available
Yeah.
to you. As you probably notice, most of these things fall under every single pillar,
Yeah.
right? And so if we start doing some of these things to look after our health,
Mhm.
right? Health is
Our
something that we
emotional
have to
well-being, it's
do.
going to affect.
Mhm. Yeah, and recognize that health is something that we have to do.
Yeah.
From a physiological standpoint, we have to be doing our health.
Mhm.
That's part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
And if we're not doing anything about our health, then our health is not something that we're going to have
No.
moving
No.
forward. It's something that we have to do. It's not
Mhm.
something that you just do for a few days and then go,
No.
well, I'm all better. I don't
It's
ever
a
have to do
lifestyle.
things. You have to be doing things all the
Mhm.
time for it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and people ask me that all the time. Well, how long do I have to do this for? Forever.
Yeah. This is your life,
This is forever.
which is why,
Mhm.
it
But
needs to be something
It
that
needs
you
to be
can
something that you do.
maintain.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of gotten into that
Instant gratification.
instant gratification. I only have to do this for X amount of time, and then I'm
And then I'm
good.
going to be healed.
I'm good. No,
Yeah.
no, that's not real life.
No.
This is
It's a journey.
You have to keep doing the things.
Mhm.
Yeah,
For sure.
so
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. We are back again
Next
in
week.
the 13th.
Yeah, it was next week.
Yeah,
All right,
the
yeah.
13th.
Yeah, we had to put back
Yes,
to back because of the business awards last week.
Which were great.
Which were fantastic.
Yes, so we're back again next week on the 13th, live at 7, and then again on the 27th it would be. So thank you, Donna, again for joining us.
Thank you for subbing in.
Yes, I was
was
very
great.
happy to sub in. This was great. Yeah, it's always fun, and I learned so much whether I got to sit here or on the other side of the screen. And yeah, it's great. And if you have any questions, submit them. We can share them with Donna, and she will get us those answers.
I
So,
will for sure.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yay.